Have you ever found yourself in this situation? So you're sitting there at the car dealership office and you're about to sign the paperwork on a brand new car, but then some thoughts start creeping into your head and the gears start turning a little bit and you start asking yourself, am I really making the right decision here? What is all of this going to cost me? If you're like me and like most Americans, we've been conditioned to believe that cars are the pinnacle of freedom. But like most Americans, we never really give it an ounce of thought as to exactly how much this freedom is costing us. I took a deep dive and I came up with a list of all the possible costs that I could think of, both hidden and obvious, because there are a lot of phantom costs that we don't perceive as cost, but we are actually paying them. We just don't know that we are paying them. So buckle up with me and let's go on a road trip. All right, so the first cost I want to talk about is probably the biggest cost of all, and a hidden cost at that, and that is the opportunity cost. So what is opportunity cost? Opportunity cost is what you give up when doing or making a decision. So for example, you are in college. You have an exam the next day. What do you do the night before? Well, you have two options. For one, you can study. Two, you can go to a party. So what do? Naturally, you go to the party. The next day, you show up, you take the exam, and you fail. So what is the opportunity cost? Well, the opportunity cost is the time that you missed out on the night before studying for the exam, and hence now you're failing it. So your opportunity cost is the missed time that you would have spent studying. To translate this into car terms, the opportunity cost would be the payment that you're making for the car when you could have maybe put it into some kind of an asset that gives you some kind of return back, or bigger return on your investment. For example, the average price of a car in the US, new car, is $47,000. So if you were rather to invest that $47,000, you spend it on a car. So what is your opportunity cost? Well, your opportunity cost is all of the future missed out returns from that investment. Suppose you put it into an index fund or something like that. So you're missing out on all those future returns by choosing to spend the money today on a car. Okay, next up. And this is one of my personal favorites, not for a good reason. Dealership fees. So dealers over the years have gotten very creative in the ways that they make money off of us. And one of those ways is dealership fees. You might see things such as documentation fee, destination and delivery fee, preparation fee, cleaning fee, my wife needs a new Gucci bag fee. All these fees are just ways for the dealer to make money. And they're hidden because they're in the contract and they're not going to tell you up front unless you specifically pinpoint it and ask them, hey, what is this about? What is this fee about? Pay attention to the contracts that you're signing and make sure you ask the dealer, what is the out the door price? Meaning, what is the total cost of the vehicle, including all of your dealer fees? In fact, sometimes I would just call up the dealer and ask them, hey, how much is your dealer fee? Because I can see the price of the car online, but I don't know how much their fees are. So I call them up, I get that information and say, thank you very much. Now I get more of a accurate representation on how much that car is going to cost. All right, the next hidden cost is a huge, huge cost, and that is financing charges. What is financing charges? Believe it or not, most dealers don't make that much money on the actual sale of the car. Meaning, where do they make their money? Well, they make their money from financing, getting you to sign a loan so that they can charge you an interest over many, many years, month after month. So when you're in that back room doing the paperwork and the person sitting in front of you is not just a paper pusher, no, He is in fact a salesman, and he is one of the top salesmen in the company because he is going to try and sell you on the financing, on extended warranty packages, on other upgrades, other maintenance. Guys, don't fall for it. Look, if you've heard the old saying of if you can't pay cash for it, then you can't afford it, this applies to cars. Personally, I have found out this to be true, and that's why I don't do financing anymore. So to give you an example, let's say a car costs $20,000 and you take out a loan for 5 years at 5% interest, you're looking at $2,645 added in addition to that price, to that base price of $20,000. And this is just for interest. It doesn't add any value to the car. You're just paying additional interest so that you have the opportunity to pay it off over a period of time. And they will mess with you. They will extend the monthly payment, but they will increase your interest rate. So even though it seems like you're paying a lower amount per month, that's actually because the loan has been extended to a longer time period and they charge you a higher interest rate. All right, moving on, and this one's kind of an obvious one, and that's maintenance and repair. But I have to cover it because it is a major cost when it comes to owning a vehicle. New tires, we need brakes, we need oil changes, air conditioners break down, need to be fixed. All that stuff is recurring maintenance. Most people know that maintenance is a part of car ownership, but they don't know exactly how much it is. And this is going to depend on the kind of car that you have. Typically, Asian car brands such as Toyota, Honda, Mazda, they have a much lower need for maintenance, and maintaining them is cheaper, oftentimes cheaper than some of the domestic or European imports such as Mercedes and BMW and all of those other luxury brands. All right, the next hidden cost is a very annoying one, but it's a part of life. And I'm willing to bet that most people do not think about this at all when they're in the car dealership. And that is traffic violations. These things drive me so crazy. I've paid my fair share of speeding tickets, red light cameras, parking tickets, and all kinds of other traffic violations. Look, it's a part of life. We all have them. Yes, it sucks, but it's a cost, and we need to factor that into account as part of the total car ownership experience. All right, the next one is kind of an obvious one, and that's fuel. Cars need fuel to run. It's simple as that. So to give you an example, if you drive an average of 15,000 miles per year, which is what the average American drives, and if your car gets about 25 miles per gallon and you're paying $3 per gallon, which I'm being kind of generous here because gas prices are a lot more than that now, you're looking at somewhere around $1,800 in fuel annually. All right, the next hidden cost is personal property taxes. Now, what is this? This is basically Uncle Sam making money off of us. So your local government, your local county, whatever, is basically charging us personal property tax. You're paying a tax for having a vehicle parked in front of your house. So if you don't know what it is, call up your local county and ask them, hey, how much am I being charged for personal property? How much am I paying for personal property tax? You can also find this information out on your taxes. Actually, you need this information for your taxes, so you can also do it then, or you can do it right now and get a good idea of what you're paying. All right, this one is, again, kind of a way for local governments to make money, and this is annual inspection and emissions. So what is this? It's basically the government measuring how much pollution your car spits out into the environment. That's the emissions portion of it. The annual inspection is basically making sure that your brakes, your lights, and everything else is working accordingly. This is not a huge cost, but it's nevertheless a cost, and this is going to depend on your location, because every local government is different. Most of them have this, but not everyone. It typically runs between 50 to 150 or so. Again, not a big cost, but definitely a cost. All right, the next hidden cost is insurance. Okay, insurance premiums are going to vary based on the car's condition, based on the make, model, even the color, based on your age, based on your driving record. It's based on a lot of different factors, but you can be certain of one thing, and that is it will always, always go up if you get into a car accident or if you have a lot of traffic violations. So if you don't know how much you're being charged for insurance, just call them up. Call up your insurance and ask them. Log into that website and look at how much you're being charged on a monthly basis. All right, the next hidden cost is depreciation. So what is depreciation? This is your car's value dropping over a period of time. Why? Well, because cars are depreciating asset. They don't go up in value, they always go down in value as they get used. The typical depreciation on a brand new car is anywhere from 8 to 10%. That means that as soon as you drive it off the lot, that car's value is going to drop by 10%. That is a huge, huge cost to bear. A new car can lose anywhere from 20 to 30% of its value in a single year, and up to 60% of its value in the first 5 years. The best thing to do here would be to get a car that is between 3 and 5 years old, because you're not taking on that initial brunt of depreciation, you're letting somebody else take it. And the car is still relatively new enough in order for it not to have any major mechanical problems. All right, the next one is kind of a catch-all, but I put it as miscellaneous costs, but it's nevertheless a hidden cost, a phantom cost, because how many times have you bought car cell phone chargers, tablet holders, car washes, car detailings, custom car stereos, tinting, bumper stickers, changing your car's stereo, all these things that we just buy unnecessarily that don't really add any value to the car, but yet are hidden costs because we keep spending and spending, buying those cell phone chargers and those cell phone holders that break like every single month. All right, the next one is understanding the sticker price, and I can also call this lifestyle creep. So you're looking at a car and you go into the dealership and you're looking at a base model, let's say it's $20,000. The dealer walks up to you and says, hey, I noticed that you're looking at this car. We have the same make and model, but we have a higher trim available. Would you like the leather seats? Or would you like the heated steering wheel? Or would you like the lumbar massage or the sunroof? And of course you say yes, because who wouldn't want the ventilated seats? And then you walk out with a $35,000 car when you were thinking of spending only $20,000. So this is what I call sticker price cost or lifestyle creep cost. All right, the next one is really unavoidable. It's again one of those ways that our local governments and our states make money off of this, and that is tax, title, and registration. So taxes, unavoidable, you got to pay them. Every state has some kind of sales tax on cars. The tag and the registration is really another way for the local governments to make money off of us. So we need to register with the DMV, and we need to have a license and all that stuff. A small cost, but nevertheless a cost. All right, and the last one is kind of one that encompasses all of these costs, and that's what I call the hamster wheel cost. So let's say, for example, your boss calls you in his office one day and says, hey, you've been doing a great job. We're gonna give you a bonus, maybe even a raise. And you go home that day, you're thinking, I got some extra money. I think I'm due for a car upgrade. You know what? I really do want those leather seats. I want that sunroof. I want that custom surround sound. So you go into the car dealership the next day, and what happens? Well, you walk out with a new car. But what happens? Well, Opportunity cost happens again. Taxes, title, registration happens again. Dealer fees, preparation fees, destination charges, all that stuff happens again. The fuel costs keep happening again. The occasional parking ticket keeps happening again. So do you see what's happening? You're ending up in a cycle. You're running on a hamster wheel. You're repeating the same thing over and over, except that now you're deeper into the hole because now you've upgraded. So you're paying your monthly payment and your financing is even higher. You're at a higher interest rate. You've paid more for the car, bigger price. And you keep going around and around in this cycle of never-ending payments and never-ending costs. This doesn't happen 2 times. This happens 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, until one day you finally get to a point and say, you know what, enough is enough. The value that I'm putting into this car, I'm not getting out. Whatever resources I'm putting in, I'm not getting at least an equivalent amount or better in return. And then you start to think, well, do I really need this? Do I really need this car? Can I really live without it? And sometimes the answer is a simple yeah. So I found out that to be the case for me because I live in a household that used to have 2 cars, which actually is the average amount of cars per household for the average American. However, I know what you're thinking. So how do you go without a car? I mean, how do you do it? I mean, you got work, you have errands to run. Yeah, you do. But I started realizing that it's oftentimes not about the resources, but it's about how resourceful you are with the things that you have. So when I made that decision, I immediately felt a wave of relief, financial debt, burden relief just wash over me. Because not only did I get rid of, well, the car payment, but I virtually eliminated every single one of the costs that I just talked about. However, you don't get anything for free, right? But it's amazing how your brain can compensate in times like these and can start thinking of creative ways in order to get you to the same result, in order to get you to the places that you need to be. So what do? Well, for one, I've arranged a work from home agreement. That helps tremendously because not only don't I have to sit in traffic and commute, I also don't have any of the other costs. I don't have the worry of paying for a car. I realize that not every person can do this and not everyone's job can be remote. However, a lot of people can. The second way is, I actually, to be totally transparent, I said that before, but I'll say it again, I do in effect have a car, except that it's a family car. It's really my wife's car, but we end up sharing it. Planning my day, communicating are key if I need to use the car. So that's number 1. Number 2 is most of the trips that I make are within 5 miles of my home. Things such as light groceries, haircut, the bank, the doctor, all these things can be accomplished via a short Uber trip. That's not expensive, or when the weather's nice, I even walk and bike there. It's better for my health, it's better for my sanity, and it's better for my wallet. All right, I want to thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Please leave a comment below. I know that there's no way that I could have listed out all the costs. I know that there's, and actually, right as I'm saying this, I thought of one more. All of the tolls on the highways that you pass and all of the parking passes that you pay for your job, those are also additional costs. So if you have any more, please leave them in the comments below. I'd be interested, and let's start a conversation. and really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you, and look forward to the next video.